Hi everyone, this is Holly from Hot Humble Pie. Welcome to my Christmas series. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you click that button. Surprise number one, today's video is in collaboration with the wonderful Rosemary from Fabbed Hacks. I did a collaboration with her back in the summer, and we had talked about doing a collaboration for the Christmas time, and here we are. And I am so excited to be bringing today's video to you as well. You guys spoke, I listened. A lot of you tell me that you just don't live by these amazing Dollar Trees, and to be honest, neither do I. I have these little tiny hole-in-the-wall Dollar Trees, and I used to be on the other side where I would see creators show us these amazing hauls and think, where are you living? I want to move there just to be by that Dollar Tree. But anyway, I don't let that stop me. I never have. And today, Rosemary and I are going to show you how you can craft with everyday items and make amazing DIY. So don't let it stop you if you don't have a huge Dollar Tree with a crafter's square. And not only are we crafting with everyday items, but we thought it would be really, really fun if we did the exact same items. So we don't know what the other person is making. I get to go and watch Rosemary's video as well and be surprised. So if you're dying from curiosity too to see what she has rustled up using the same 4 items, make sure you head on over to her video after watching mine. The link to that video will be below in my description box as well as at the end of this video. And as always, I hope you enjoy the show. For this craft, you're going to need the Dollar Tree party hats, and you're going to start by removing the elastic. Now, the elastic is not attached to anything, as you can see, so make sure if you use them for actual party hats, you guys glue them because they'll just fall right off the kids' heads. And I'm just reinforcing them now with a bit of hot glue. I'm going to be making 2 crafts here. You can make as many as you want. We're making some Christmas trees, and I'm going to start off with a light coat of white paint just to tone down the design. I'm not looking for full coverage, I just don't want it to be glaring, and I'm using some mop threads. Now again, you can use twine, rope, whatever you want, whatever your imagination thinks up to cover these, but I have my house in Rustic Farmhouse, and so the mop goes really, really well for that theme because it's a bit, you know, rustic, and it just looks like it just crosses over into that genre. And it also crosses over into boho and boho farmhouse, so if you do that one, that's fun as well. And I personally think this is a really cute look for any look. I think it just makes a super cute Christmas tree. It's very versatile that way. You can dress it up or dress it down. Now I'm adding a toilet roll, or it might be a paper towel center there, the cardboard piece, because I'm going to be making my trees taller than the party hats. That's the way you go about camouflaging that you used party hats, and you make your craft look very high end. And you can make your trees as short or as tall as you want. I just did it by eye, and you know, until it was to a height where I thought it looked good for me, because I knew where I was going to place it in my house for the Christmas season. And I'm just finishing up covering all of it with mop thread here. It's that simple, you guys. It's kind of, you know, takes a little time, but the results are worth it because it's so beautiful and so rustic looking. My next tree, I'm using driftwood. Now, you can use any kind of wood you want. If you happen to be lucky enough to live near a Dollar Tree that has those wood sticks that they sell, that would make a really nice cover. And as you can see, I'm making this one a little taller. And you can also just go outside to good old Mother Nature and collect some sticks and cover it that way. And Rosemary actually has a video where she goes over how to make homemade driftwood, and I don't know what video that is, but it involved soaking the wood. You pick the bark off and then you soak the wood in water, bleach water for, that's the part I don't remember is how long. I actually bleached mine to kill any little critters that I may have brought back by accident from the beach, and it brought them up super light like this. And personally, I probably would just pick up wood and soak it in bleach water with the bark on, because I think that would make the bark all soggy and loose. You could just peel it off, but you'll get almost an identical look to this if you want this exact look. Bleach water does amazing things to wood. So, and you can do it by eye too. You just leave it soaking in that bucket outside until you see that it's turning the color that you want it to, you know, keep testing it, reach in, see if the bark peels off, see if the wood is light under there. Probably don't need exact instructions because that one is, I think, more by eye. But anyway, This came out absolutely gorgeous, you guys. The whole time I'm doing this craft, it's so cute. My jaw's hanging open because I'm like, oh, that's so beautiful. And it's so heavy. In fact, both of these ended up being super heavy and sturdy, which I was really, really pleased about. Now here's where I would give additional instructions. I'm changing it up. I would not paint the party hat white. I have to go back with burnt umber and paint all of the visible little white areas to cover it up. So if you know you're going to do something, anything that you want to cover these trees with, and you know that it's going to need a dark base underneath, start off by painting it dark for sure. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. That's why I painted them both white. And here I just went out to my garage and I sawed 2 pieces of scrap wood that I had, and I'm just using a little bit of wood glue to glue it together. I didn't nail it. Wood glue was perfectly fine. It held beautifully. And I'm just going to tack that down, and these are going to be the tree trunks. Again, my look in my house is rustic, so everything I do has to kind of go in that theme, but you guys can use anything for the trunk. You know, let your imagination go. You can even use a really sturdy, super thick, I think they come in the center of foil, and sometimes you get them with wrapping paper, but you get the centers that are really, really thick sometimes that you literally need a saw to cut the center of them. Those would be okay for a trunk as well. And of course you can always go out to Mother Nature and get a bigger stick and use that, and then just glue that on the bottom of a platform. So I'm turning it upside down there. I put jars around it to help hold it up. You do need, you know, quite a bit of hot glue in there, or I mean, it's not like you use the whole stick, but don't just do 1 or 2 little squirts. You need to make sure that it's nice and steady inside that middle there, at least with mine because they were heavy. So I took some Dollar Tree ribbon here. I cut it down the center to make it thinner. This is going to be the top of my tree, which I really had to think about because these are rustic trees and I didn't want them to go too frou-frou. So I was sticking with the rustic theme here. And I also took some of the Dollar Tree lace ribbon. I cut that thinner as well to tie it in the center. I love that lace ribbon, so I liked the contrast between the lace and the burlap. One of my favorite ways to rust anything up that's metal is using cinnamon and paint. Now some people put glue or Mod Podge and they roll it in the cinnamon, but I find paint works just fine, and then you mist it with some polyacrylic or hairspray afterwards to hold it on. But look at that, it looks so legit. So for this I wanted the rusting to look really good, and ultimately I decide as a tree topper I want to use these Dollar Tree bells. So I'm just painting some, it was burnt umber from Apple Barrel paint on there, and then the cinnamon is sticking wherever the paint's wet, and I mist it with some hairspray later. This is the Dollar Tree totally cheesy pine, you guys. It looks cheap, I have to admit. So what I do to dress this up and make it look more expensive is I cut it down really, really short, and I usually use a dark green paint that I kind of sponge on to make it a darker green pine, or sometimes I take white paint and frost it up. But you can actually dress that pine up. It's very workable and it's very cheap, and you know, you can make it look high end. I decided for this particular craft I just wanted that nice pop of color, the brighter green, so I left it. Oh, doesn't that look cute though? Look at that. That's the first top right there. So rustic cute. And this is going to be the second topper, but I decided I wanted it to be a little bit different but complementary, so I end up tying some twine on it, and I'm going to hang the bell off of the wooden tree, and these came up absolutely gorgeous. For this craft, I'm using the Dollar Tree stovetop covers. The first thing I do is take them outside and spray paint them white on the front and the back, even though the back has white already. You don't have to. I just wanted to do that. And then I take a drill. I drill some holes through. It's paper thin, so that was so easy. It's like I almost punctured them. You know what I mean? You probably could do it with a nail if you have something really firm. Don't just hammer it, because you'll bend the stovetop covers because they're that thin. They're just flimsy, so you have to be kind of careful on how you go about getting those holes in there. But I decide that the white looks too, just monotone. Now this is one of the few times you will actually see me use white shiny paint. The paint I have is a gloss, because I wanted to go ahead and sponge on some of the flat white paint to give it some dimension and sparkle, like real snow looks when you're outside. It's not flat, it has dimension and it sparkles in the sun. So this is what I'm attempting to do. I'm trying to make my snow look like real snow, so the darker areas there actually shine a little bit from the spray paint, and the light areas are matte, so it ends up looking really, really pretty. And now I'm just drawing the face on. Now I tried to draw some eyes by, no, I just did it on my own, and I erased 5 times. It was comical, and I said forget it. So I ended up cutting out a shape. I don't know if I have OCD or what, but I wanted my eyes to be even, and I wanted them to be the same shape. So I did end up cutting something out, and I used it to make the eyes nice and even. And then I just drew a quick mouth on it and a little smile. And I was actually using my phone. I saw a face online that I thought was really, really cute for a snowman, and I'm copying it. And I'm just filling in the eyes here with some black paint. Now, if you live by such a hole-in-the-wall Dollar Tree that you can't even get stovetop covers, don't worry, because you can still do this with a top, like pots and pans, the lids. You can use the lids to do this craft, and you don't have to do the body of the snowman. You can make just a head if you want, and then glue a scarf on the bottom to kind of fill it in. So don't let it stop you. The handle too on the lid, by the way, makes a super cute nose for the snowman. So don't let it stop you. Still make your snowman. They make great door hangers for the front door, and you can embellish them. Super, super cute. And of course, again, because my house is rustic, I did some dry brushing with some pewter gray from apple barrel paint, and now I'm just using the burnt umber to do the buttons, which I love the way they kind of, you can see the paint swirls and brush strokes. That makes it look so much more rustic. I thought that came out so, so cute. And I'm using last year's baby blanket from the Dollar Tree there in the buffalo check. I decided that this would make a super cute scarf for his neck, because you got to kind of cover that little neck area there, since it's not, too flattering. You can see the wires. And I'm just going to go ahead and use hot glue to make a scarf, and then tie it around his neck. And I do hot glue the scarf on places strategically so that they stay looking, I want the scarf to look like it's blowing in the wind. So I glue it in that position. I glue it to be tucked under his chin, and then I kind of gather it up. You'll see me in a minute here. I'm going to gather it up, and I'm just going to make the scarf have the illusion that it's blowing in the wind. So I'm cutting a little fringe here on the end, which I should have done first before I tied it around, because it was really difficult to do it this way because everything was glued, but it worked out. But make sure you do that first. And I'm using 12-inch shims from Home Depot. I can't get that 15-inch one, even though I ordered it. For some reason where I live, they just don't get it. So these are 12-inch, and I'm just taking and cutting them. Now I'm having to use a saw because I went a little bit lower than my scissors or clippers could handle, because they do get thicker as they go down. They're graduated. But of course, I'm making his little black top hat. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but I do use the pieces I cut off to make the top rim. Because my house is rustic, I get away with that. It just kind of has that palette look, and waste not, want not. Here I'm using some masking tape, and I'm going to put a little bit of back support on this little guy. And I use some of the towering blocks from the Dollar Tree. You can use any piece of wood or stick to do this. You just need to raise it up a little bit, because once you put them together, you have to get it higher. You can't glue it. He's not flat because of the rim around the edge. And I'm using some super glue gel, that fix-all right there. I mean business. This actually sits overnight with a big heavy book on top of it to make sure it dries. And I just use a painter stick and glue it down. And I'm using the same strong super glue fix-all for his hat, along with some hot glue, because all of these things, they sturdy the snowman up so that he's nice and solid and he's not going to fall apart. And there I'm gluing a little hanger on the back, and I'm just going to cover it with some masking tape for some extra support. So I used one of those little Dollar Tree wood pieces for a very rustic nose for this guy. Look at that, that is so cute. And of course I'm using the heavy duty glue, you guys, because I want a strong hold. Shout out to Janet Moore. Oh my gosh, she sent me those wood pieces. I have never been able to find them in any of my Dollar Trees, and I made a video and I just commented about it, and next I get an email from Janet and she wanted to send me 2 bags. Thank you so much, Janet. I love those pieces. I have so many good ideas for them. My husband actually went out and purchased a post office box for that reason. If you guys want to send me things to support my channel, I am always so grateful. So just drop me an email and I will give you my address. And again, thank you, Janet. So I decided this needs a little pop of color, and I just put a little tiny bit of orange, but he came up super, super cute and super rustic. Check this out, you guys. This is stovetop covers. For this craft, you're going to need some Dollar Tree jute twine, although you can get the twine anywhere. It's not just an exclusive Dollar Tree item. And I did try to do this craft by eye, and I ended up using craft sticks and cutting them down in little cascading lengths to get it so that it came out more perfect, because it wasn't working the other way. And all I'm doing here is I'm just wrapping my twine around the craft stick, and I'm going to make a little tiny jute twine bows because I thought they would be so cute in different lengths to make a very rustic Christmas tree, to make a Christmas tree ornament with. So I floated back and forth between making a Christmas tree ornament and making a 3-tier tray decoration. So I'm going to run down how I would have made the 3-tier tray decoration for those of you that look forward to that. You go ahead and you make these bows in all the different little cascading shapes, and then you're going to take your craft stick there, and of course I'm going to go ahead and make a little quick stain here with a little bit of burnt umber and a little drop of black paint. You can see what I'm doing, and I add some water to it, and that's just a really quick, cute, rustic stain for the trunk of these trees. But you're going to glue the twine on the front and the back if you want it for a 3-tier tray decoration, and then you just hold it up with some little towering blocks on the bottom there. You just make a little platform. I just thought that would be such a cute Christmas tree. And you know what? You can decorate it with bows, jewels, buttons. You know, the sky's the limit. Just use your imagination. They are so much fun to make. And you can even leave them one-dimensional like I am and mat them on a canvas, on a piece of wood, hang them on the wall as a picture. They're just super cute little farmhouse rustic trees. I love this craft. You saw me there cutting the Dollar Tree ribbon at the center to make a thinner little lace ribbon, and I'm using the same craft stick to wrap around and around here, and I'm just going to make like a little miniature floral bow for the top of one of these trees. And then I find a super cute like rustic metal button in my button collection. I don't even know how it got there, but it was perfect for the center of this bow. It comes up super cute, you guys. For For the second tree, I decided to go for one of those little Dollar Tree stickers for the top, but sky's the limit, you guys. Use your imagination. You can top this with so many things. I even considered collecting some little mini sticks and making like a little tiny mini star out of it and then putting it on the top, but just have fun and use your imagination. That's what crafting is all about, but these were so much fun to make. And you just put a little hanger on the back. Again, mine are Christmas tree ornaments if you're not doing that, but check these out, you guys. They came out absolutely beautiful and totally farmhouse rustic. For this craft, you're going to need a Dollar Tree cookie aluminum baking tray, which you can probably get anywhere, a shower caddy, and a box. And this goes out to those people again who are asking me all the time to show them more crafts on how to get rid of those Amazon boxes. We're using an Amazon box, you guys. So the first thing I do is I cut off the bottom hooks on that shower caddy. You can see it right there. The bottom's going to be flat. And now I'm just going to cut that box down and make it the shape to wrap around that shower caddy, because I didn't have a box the exact same size. If you have a box the exact same size, like a cereal box or something like that, that fits perfect around the shower caddy, you can skip this step. I did not, at least not in one with, you know, a strong cardboard. I wanted a nice thick strong cardboard for this. It's easy enough to do. Cardboard bends, as you can see. You can make new creases, you can bend it in any which way you want, but this cardboard's nice and thick. So the shower caddy is also an everyday item that you find at most Dollar Trees, but the reason I did not include it in my intro is because Rosemary over at FabTax got to choose 2 items, and I got to choose 2 items. You guys, I am so excited to see what she did. I'm serious. I have been waiting. We've been planning this for like 10 days, and I am so excited because anyone can go to the Dollar Tree down the Crafter's Square aisle and just buy a bunch of craft items, slap some paint on it, some bows, flowers, glue everything together, and say, voila, there it is, a craft. And it does, it looks really good. But if you don't live by Dollar Trees that offer all those things, it can be really discouraging. So when you can take an everyday, boring, like you walk by and think it's junk stuff, and turn it into beautiful home decor, it is so much more exciting to me. For me anyway, it's more of a challenge, and I know for sure everyone watching this video can make at least one of these crafts and they won't be left out. So I'm having a lot of fun with this video. I think this is the funnest I've had in a lot, as far as making a video, and I've never actually been excited to see, like, you know, reach in the black hat and you don't know what you're going to get. I am just so excited to see what she did. Just the fact that we're using the same identical item, you know, the same items, you want to see how somebody else's brain ticks with those items. It's so cool. So anyway, I'm just gluing everything and taping everything together, as you saw, for reinforcement. And here I'm cutting, and I left this in to show you. See how I cut and keep bending it away, cut, bend it away. That's so you don't cut yourself really badly. And make sure you do that and that you're really careful, because that is metal and it will slice you good if you don't. So wear gloves if you don't feel like you can remember to do that. I'm very clumsy and I usually cut myself, but it worked really, really well for me just to cut it, bend, cut it, bend. I do decide the cardboard is too tall, so I take it and shave it down and I add more tape. And now I'm just going to cover it with these baking trays right here. Super easy. I just use hot glue, and it is literally like wrapping a Christmas gift. You're going to glue it on, cut the edges right there at an angle, and then bend them in just like a Christmas present. Quick little reminder, because you see me using my silicone spatula, which I got at the Dollar Tree. It's also available on Amazon. I have the link below in my description box. I get a lot of questions about that blue spatula on the side there. You can also find it at Walmart. It's a makeup spatula. It's 100% silicone. But reminder, metal conducts heat, you guys. It is scalding hot once you start gluing it down, so just be careful and be aware of that. And here I decide that I don't really want that real pitted look. You can leave it if you want because hammered metal actually looks very similar to that, but I want mine to look more like beaten up metal or beaten up hammered metal. You know what I mean? I just want, again, rustic decor. So I need mine to do a little, I need to take it up a notch. So I take it outside and I go ahead and give the entire thing a spray with that Rust-Oleum paint, including the metal part, because I want it all to match. It also tones down the shine a little bit because we're doing a nice old rustic distressed metal that looks like it's been outside. And shout out to Sharon Williams. Oh my gosh, you guys, she's another subscriber that sent me a craft supply. I have not been able to find the color Nutmeg by Apple Barrel Paint forever. Like, I think it's been almost a year in my Walmart. It is always sold out. I don't know if someone's crafting in this area or has a business maybe where they're making something and they use gallons of it. But she found some and she wrote me and said, I'd love to send this to you. And thank you so much, Sharon, because it is my favorite color for rust. It looks pretty much like the cinnamon, but without the 3D effect. And I prefer it for metal because when metal begins to rust, it doesn't get that little furry look quite yet with the cinnamon until it's really bad. And even when it's really bad, I will sand the metal, like the little furry stuff off, and then you end up with that orange that looks identical to the nutmeg. So thank you, Sharon. You have made my day, and I usually use it around Christmas season, so perfect timing. So here we go with the nutmeg color in Apple Barrel Paint, and I'm just going to go around the edges where the seams would be and where the metal would rust naturally from being outside and being exposed to the oxidization and the stress of the weather changes. And I don't know if you can see right there, I did put some masking tape along the edges where I felt it was too sharp, and I'm going to keep this forever because it came out that good that I'm going to be handling it, so I didn't want to cut myself. So anywhere you guys feel like it's a bit dangerous, go ahead and cover it up. Now I'm just taking some really beautiful, I like the darker forest greens for farmhouse decor for Christmas. I mean, sometimes I'll go bright, but for the most part you'll see me use this color. And I don't remember what color it is, you guys, but it's basically, I think it's called forest green actually. But I saw a aged piece of metal online where they had the old green paint on there and it had rusted, and so I'm going for that look. I want that vintage feel, that rustic farmhouse, and I decided to use the Christmas tree ornament from the Dollar Tree and tear that Merry Christmas sign off because I want that in the center. I'm just going to spackle up those holes, and you can use anything. You guys can handwrite it on there. Also, this could be an all year round wall hanging to put your mail in, your letters. You would have to cut the little bars out of the shower caddy. I chose to keep them because they kind of work as a foam to hold your florals up, since I'm going to be putting florals in it. But if you don't want to keep those little, I guess those little grill pieces in there, just slice them off and you can hang this on the wall all year round. And for your words, you can just hang like a little mini chalkboard off of it and write whatever you want and then change it out and write mail on it for the rest of the year. But I'm making just a Christmas decoration, so I glued everything down. And you can see I'm just embellishing it with Dollar Tree little mini ornaments. I wrap them in twine to make them more rustic. I distress them a little bit with some burnt umber, and I put the little pine cones on the front. All of that embellishment on the front there is from the Dollar Tree, except for the sparkly little holly leaves. Those came from Michael's about 3 years ago. And now I'm just taking a little bit of burnt umber and going around the sign to age and distress it as well. And I'm using florals. These are also from the Dollar Tree. Aren't they gorgeous, you guys? But again, I'm doing a front door hanging, but this would be a perfect all year round piece, and it came up stunningly beautiful. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. It really does help YouTube notice my channel. And of course, you guys, until the next video, breathe deep, fret not, and do things that make you happy.